I'll start off by our little housekeeping item by our secretary. Good to have you back, Justin. You want to take roll?
Mr. Miller.
Here.
Mr. Jackamore.
Here.
Mr. Cummins.
Here.
Mr. Stroud.
Here.
Cawthorn here.
Thank you, sir. All right. Okay, we don't have any old business. New business for this meeting is item number 1, variance from Articles 3.22. Here, Sarah, you can go ahead and give us the staff report on that, please.
Yes, absolutely. You are correct. There are actually 6 variance requests within this one application. So I've just labeled it variance request Pope County EMS facility. But I will go through and address each of the items. The applicant did a good job in itemizing which requests they had, and I'm going to respond to each of those individually as I go through this. And so this is 6 different applications through this one variance. You're very familiar with this application. It's the Pope County EMS. It's currently a vacant property situated between Arkansas, Reasoner Lane. I can go through all of that if you want. Otherwise, and just a reminder that the current zoning for ATU property is R3, and we'll get into that with one of their requests. So this is a variance, and these are the guidelines for you all when making a decision. So applicant will need to demonstrate that special conditions and circumstances exist which are peculiar to the land, structure, or building involved and which are not applicable to other lands. Non-conforming uses in the area shall not be considered. Demonstration that there are sufficient reasons to justify a variance and that the variance is the minimum to make reasonable use of the land. Find that the application will be in harmony with the purpose and intent of the code, and the Board of Adjustment may prescribe appropriate conditions and safeguards. And so, just a reminder, these are the plans that we have. So the plan on the left in color is the plan that was submitted with the large-scale development application, and the plan on the right is the landscape plan that was submitted as part of the building permit application this May. So like I said, we're going item by item. So regarding item 1, so the applicant is requesting relief from Article 3.22.5.2, which requires buildings avoid long, uninterrupted facade planes and or blank walls. Facades greater than 50 feet shall incorporate wall plane projections. No uninterrupted length of a facade may exceed 50 feet. The purpose of the code governing wall articulation is to ensure diversity in building designs and prevent the creation of monotonous and unappealing long structures. The request for relief pertains to a specific wall in the structure that primarily faces the roadway. And this is the portion that faces Reasoner Lane that they're requesting the relief from, and measures only 92 feet long. It is argued that this wall is considered a short wall, and then that retrofitting it with additional design elements would pose challenges for both the design team and the owner. Financial hardships and challenges cannot be taken into consideration. During the large-scale development review, staff made a general statement regarding commercial building design, suggesting that the requirements appeared to be met based on the provided drawings, pending confirmation with the building permit. As you can see, the plan in color is the one that was submitted, and staff didn't take the time to measure each of the walls. It is a scale drawing. We could have done that, but generally speaking, it did appear that it was met. But then when we get into the building permit review and we actually looked at the length of the wall, that's when we noticed it is a 92-foot wall along Reasoner Lane. And so, as I just stated, during the review of the building permit, each of those requirements of the zoning code is specifically checked. And at that stage, it was observed that this 92-foot wall did not fulfill the specified requirements because it did exceed that 50-foot length. And considering the building's positioning and the lack of adequate justification, staff did not find sufficient evidence to grant a variance for item 1. Item 2 is regarding these exhaust vents on the front of the building. This is the side facing North Arkansas, and I did highlight in this drawing, it's those 2 vent fans on the top of the building highlighted in yellow. Do you need me to go back? I don't know the size of the fans. I do apologize for that.
They're exhaust fans for the bay.
Okay. So this is a request for relief from the screening requirement listed in Article 3.22.5.5 for mechanical equipment. This requires that all mechanical equipment be screened from street view. The applicant is stating that to screen these fans would require a much higher wall or screen that would not only look out of place, but there is a concern the screen would create a backflow situation in which the exhaust would be forced back into the direction of the fan. Staff definitely does not want to create a hazardous situation for any of our emergency response personnel. However, we're not experts on mechanical equipment, so I did enlist the assistance of a couple licensed professional HVAC and mechanical installers. They expressed doubt regarding the possibility of a backflow scenario caused by using a wall for screening purposes. According to them, ventilation systems always push air in a single direction. Additionally, since the vents are positioned against the taller wall, placing a screen in front of them would not result in any circumstance that would cause air to flow back into the structure. Item 3. This is a request for relief made in relation to the irrigation landscaping requirements outlined in Article 5.5.4. The current requirement states that a landscaped area should have either an underground sprinkler system, an automatic drip system, or a hose bib located within 100 feet of the area. Originally, the allowance for a hose bib was intended for small-scale residential or single-family properties, while others were expected to have an automatic system to ensure the survival of the landscaping without requiring staff intervention. Considering that Pope County has a dedicated grounds crew responsible for maintaining their facilities and the utilization of drip bags for tree care until they establish roots, it can be argued that these circumstances are unique to this property and not applicable to others. Therefore, these special circumstances may serve as valid grounds to grant a variance from the standard requirements. Item 4. The building permit plans did not depict the trees along South Arkansas in accordance with the regulations, as they had been previously submitted during the large-scale development phase. As you can see, the plans on the left-hand side of the screen, the ones in color, those were the ones submitted with the large-scale development. The area highlighted in yellow on that colored plans has those 2 smaller trees in between all of the trees that are currently on Arkansas that are the ATU planted. They're currently there. They would be planting those 2 smaller trees in between. On the plans submitted to staff for part of review under the building permit application, those 2 trees in between the bigger trees were not included on the application, and staff did request that they resubmit plans in compliance with the zoning code and the large-scale development. And the request on this was a little vague. They weren't sure if they were requesting a variance. There was miscommunication. So according to Article 5.8.4, a street frontage buffer zone of 10 feet is mandated, and which should include either 5 shrubs or 2 small trees. They are proposing the 2 small trees. So as a part of the review process, the request was made to demonstrate compliance with the frontage buffer requirements as originally presented during the large-scale development and satisfy zoning regulations. Item 5. The city has been requested to acquire the maintenance easement agreement for the right-of-way instead of assigning this responsibility to the developer. Typically, when a development takes place and there is insufficient right-of-way, the developer is required to dedicate additional right-of-way along their property frontage. Arkansas Tech University has confirmed that Reasoner Lane is under the jurisdiction of the city, meaning we hold the maintenance responsibility for it. During the large-scale development process, the developer was expected to obtain the additional right-of-way for their property, although through a different, distinct process from the typical right-of-way dedication. It is the developer's responsibility to acquire this maintenance easement agreement from ATU. And finally, item 6, the final item that the applicant is seeking relief from is regarding the size of the monument sign. As per Article 7.8.7, monument signs in residential zones are permitted to have a maximum height of 6 feet. The applicant is proposing a sign that exceeds this limit with a height of 8 feet. Although the property is zoned as R3, it's worth considering that it is owned by ATU, is situated along a major, highly trafficked road in town. And given the low probability of development in a residential manner, it would be suitable to consider the regulations for a monument signs within commercial zones on this particular property. So staff does have 2 recommendations. As you heard, items 1 through 6, some of them we do recommend approval, some of them we do recommend denial. So staff recommends approval of the following variance requests related to item 3, Article 5.5.4, and item 6, Article 7.8.7. As a result of the findings, the applicant has demonstrated that special circumstances or unique conditions exist that are particular to the property and not applicable to other properties. And the applicant demonstrates justification for variances on these 2 regulations, and the applicant has met all other variance guidelines. And then staff does recommend denial of the following variance requests relating to item 1, Article 3.22.5.2, item 2, Article 3.22.5.5, item 4, Article 5.8.4, and item 5, the request regarding dedication of right-of-way as a result of the findings below. The applicant has not demonstrated that special conditions or unique circumstances exist that are particular to the property and not applicable to other properties. It does not appear that a hazardous situation would be created by placing the screen in front of the venting. The applicant previously showed compliance with Article 5.8.4 during the large-scale development application and dedication of right-of-way, or as in this case, a maintenance easement agreement, is the responsibility of the applicant. Are there any questions?
Thank you, Sarah. Dave, you want?
For the record, David Garza with Barrett and Associates. On behalf of our client, Pope County, we brought these items before you for reasons that were stated there and for comments that I'm about to make based off of the staff report. So item number 1, we were requesting relief from Article 3.22.5.2, the wall articulation design requirements. I'd like to say that I understand the reason for that, because you do want things to look, nice and beautiful and all of that, to enhance the look and appearance of a building from the public. However, the article itself talks about commercial building design. This is not commercial. This is governmental. So it wouldn't apply to governmental. It wouldn't apply to institutes like schools or universities. It wouldn't apply to federal. It wouldn't apply to industrial. All of these are not commercial. There's no commercial definition in the book, but when you look it up, the commercial definition states commercial property, also called commercial real estate, investment property or income property, is real estate intended to generate a profit either from capital gains or rental income. This doesn't do that. This is a governmental office. It would be the same thing as municipal, like the city. If the city were to build, they wouldn't have to comply with this either, because they're municipal. They're not commercial. They're not generating an income. And so that's not the purpose. So all of those others, so if you view this as not being commercial, then it would not fall under that guide. So that's point number one. Point number two, request number two, relief from the screening requirement. If you relied or you agreed with what I had just said, that also goes away because that's commercial. But at the same time, stop and think where we're at and what's there. So you're coming around North Arkansas Avenue. We've already got these huge trees there that Tech has planted. We're planting large trees along Reasoner, and then between those, we're planting smaller trees through there. You're not going to see anything above probably the window line of the building because that's where your tree canopy is. So your tree canopy is the screen, you know, and I think that was probably, not only was the purpose of the trees to bring color, but also for shade, you know, cool, to bring a cool area into the area, but it's also a screening, you know, so that's a screen in itself that is going to occur. Item number 3 was about the irrigation. We were asking a variance from the irrigation. I think it speaks for itself. I think Sarah also pointed out that Pope County has the maintenance facility. I mean, they take pride in their facilities. You can go to each one of their facilities now, and they're well kept and well maintained. They're not going to let this one go, you know, by the wayside. They're going to maintain this because they're putting a lot into this facility, and they're going to want it to look good, so they're going to take care of it, and they're going to maintain it. Item number 4, we revised the plan to include the 2 smaller trees along the frontage, and so that's on the portal. So that one, we're not even asking a variance for. We're complying with that one. Item number 5, as stated with the staff report, Arkansas Tech University has confirmed that Reasoner Lane is under the jurisdiction of the city, meaning the city holds the maintenance responsibility for it. At the time the large-scale development was submitted, we were not aware of that. We were still trying to find that out. So we were relying on the same thing that the Lofts did over on Red Hill Lane. Red Hill Lane is not maintained by the city and is on Arkansas Tech property. So therefore, a maintenance agreement had to be had to be acquired by Arkansas Tech for this city to be able to maintain that. In this case, that it's the opposite. They've already confirmed that the city has maintenance. So there's no longer a maintenance agreement necessary. The city has it. So we can go ahead with the city, and we're partnering with the city on this. They're going to do the sidewalk in front of the fire station, and then we're paying for all the sidewalk and improvements in front of the Polk County EMS. So we're partnering with them on design and construction. But there's no maintenance agreement necessary. Arkansas Tech has already acknowledged the city of Russellville has the maintenance of this road. So that should go away in itself. It's not necessary. And then item number 6, it pretty much just speaks for itself. And I think if you look at it, commercial, 8-foot is okay, and that's kind of a commercial design. So, and I think the staff has already recommended to approve that one anyway. So, that's all the comments I have.
All right, thank you, Dave. Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Garza or Sarah?
Sarah, I'm not clear on the right-of-way issue. If the city already has a maintenance agreement on Reasoner Lane, then what you're saying is that the developer still needs to get a right-of-way easement?
So the difference is that we have it for the current width of for the road. And they are widening the road. And so in order for us to have that maintenance over that additional widened area, they would have to go through this process. It is similar to the one that they did over on Red Hill Lane for University Loft Apartments, because they did have to put sidewalks down Red Hill Lane and put storm drainage in there. And so they acquired that maintenance easement. We have the maintenance easement for the existing right-of-way, but they need to dedicate additional for the widening portion that they are doing.
And Arkansas Tex, since they own the property, that's who the right-of-way
Correct, yes,
agreement would
sir.
have to come from.
Yes, sir.
And my response to that is Trey was involved in that right away, in the process of that with the Lofts attorneys with Arkansas Tech, so Trey is very familiar with that. The same things, if that's the case, then the same process is going to happen in front of the fire station. So it doesn't make sense for both of us to have to acquire something that the city's already going to have to do. We'll help them in any way possible. I'll get, legal descriptions, whatever they need. That I don't have a problem with. It's just, it doesn't make sense when Trey's already familiar. He can write it up, just ask me for the legal description. I can get it to him. He can process it. And then the city and everything is done together. That's what I'm alluding to.
Does anybody have any other questions?
Dave, you said you didn't know the size of the fans. I'm just confused on that. We don't want two fans facing the Arkansas. And here in your report, it says from the architectural elevations, most of the equipment will be screened with the exception of the exhaust fans from the bay zone. But that's not what you just said up here.
Hey, Dave, you said that you were going to be planting some trees in between the ones that are already there. Okay. So that drawing was just missing those? Okay. Just one. Okay. Perfect. Okay. I just wanted clarification on that.
You're talking about the trees on South Arkansas, right?
For some reason, it didn't show up on the landscaping plan.
So how many trees are we going to have to remove? Any? Go in between them?
Yeah, that was one thing that Bowen said, you will not damage.
That was made very clear.
Right, now there's a dead one, there's a stump there. We're gonna put two small trees right there. Cover that, but
On the second item there about the wall length and the design that would be difficult on design team and the owner, it's considered a short wall, even though it's 92 feet long. So it'd be a redesign and
Talked about an R3.
So would that be the elevation on the east side, is what we're talking about on by Reasoner? And it's gonna be a brick facade, right?
are those, is that the side where the bay doors will be? Oh. Oh, I see what, yeah.
We appreciate that, Dave. Yeah. What's your pleasure, gentlemen?
I'll make a motion to approve the variances as presented.
All right, we have a motion to approve. Do I hear a second? Do I hear a second? Come on, gentlemen.
I second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Can we get clarification on that? You say
Yes.
as presented,
Well,
Dawn.
I'm approving, item 1 through 6.
So just approving all of them?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
We have a motion and a second to approve items 1 through 6 as presented. All those in favor acknowledge by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carried. Did we have any abstain? Okay, all right. If there's no other business, we are adjourned. Yeah. But the one you